Vulnerability is a word that hackers love and internet users will fear. There's a new software flaw the White House is calling a severe threat, and you may not have heard about it. Web stories like these surfaced over the last week. Headlines like Log4j vulnerability cleanup expected to take months or years from SC Media, and the race is on to patch Log4Shell, the bug that's breaking the internet, from TechCrunch. The director of the agency tasked to take on these issues shared this warning to CNBC.
The Log4j vulnerability is the most serious vulnerability that I have seen in my decades-long career. Everyone should assume that they are exposed and vulnerable, and to check and make sure that they're not vulnerable.
Tech correspondent Tyler Atkinson knows this industry and its unknowns far better than most. So, Tyler, for those of us who are not the most tech savvy, put this in terms we can all understand. What is Log4j, and why is this digital flaw getting the attention right now?
So, effectively, Log4j is a logging library. It's a free and open source tool that is used by programmers and developers to effectively be able to look at the amount of traffic and other things that are going on in a given application or a server that they're running. So, say you write down your daily activities in a notebook or somewhere else, Log4j essentially does the same thing, but it allows these developers and programmers to also go look at those logs in order to troubleshoot security incidents or other things like that. Effectively, this new vulnerability allows hackers to use that tool to perform what's known as a remote code execution, which means that they can send malicious code through this tool to a machine and effectively access all the data on any affected machine at this point. There's some nation states that are involved in this or thought to be involved in this as well. But right now, really what we're seeing is that cyber criminals of all sorts are just using this in order to try to be able to get into places. According to the cybersecurity group Checkpoint Research, within 72 hours of the initial outbreak, they detected at least 800,000 attacks of this sort. And since last Friday, that same team has detected 1.8 million Log4j exploit attempts on almost half of all corporate networks that they track at this point. So really the thing is that because this tool is so widely used and because it's free and a lot of people rely on it, we're really even trying to get a sense of just how big the problem is right now.
Okay, so given how widespread the problem could be, how quickly then can we fix the issue?
It's not something that comes in the next days or weeks. It might be a thing that goes on for months here. When we hear about ransomware attacks, usually they're hitting a single business and the issue is sort of contained to that one entity. But this is more of a supply chain attack where a piece of software that's used by businesses all over the place are effectively being exploited by this. I spoke to former White House CIO Teresa Payton, and she basically told me that cyber criminals are going to be able to utilize this exploit to run future attacks even if they don't want to do anything right now. Take a listen.
Once the attackers gain a toehold leveraging this vulnerability, they may sit in stealth mode and not do anything. An organization may go ahead and patch and not know they're there to eradicate them. And so they could, basically engage and execute some type of a cyber attack in the months and weeks, perhaps years to come.
That's really difficult about all of this is that you may not be able to, in like the current position you're in, go in and see whether or not your business has been utilizing Log4j. Usually it takes some kind of forensic or cyber forensic researcher to go in and look to see how your traffic runs through and if it runs through these Log4j loggers.
Okay, so how long could this threat linger with us into the future?
Yeah, so this could be something, depending on how cyber criminals use it, where we see some initial attacks already starting to come in place in the next few days, or we can really see this going out for the next few months, because there are patches out there to fix this issue right now. But really, what comes into play here is you have to know that your systems are even vulnerable right now, and you have to go and make sure that you put those patches in place. Now, there is a bit of a deadline, at least in some senses, where CISA wants certain federal agencies to make sure that they have a patch in place by Christmas Eve. Because really one of the things that's also kind of interesting about this is the timing of it all. In the past, when we've seen these major supply chain attacks come out, they usually happen around holiday seasons because these cyber criminals are privy to knowing that there's not going to be people around. The Kaseya attack was discovered on July 2nd, which was the Friday before Independence Day. When you know that people are going to be gone for a long time, it's a great time to launch these attacks.
Okay, Tyler Atkinson, thank you so much for breaking down all the tech speak for us.
Thank you.